You're listening to Double Plus Media News. Double the news, plus commentary. BBC News. Anti-5G necklaces found to be radioactive. Necklaces and accessories claiming to quote-unquote protect people from 5G mobile networks have been found to be radioactive. The Dutch Authority for Nuclear Safety and Radiation Protection, ANVS, issued a warning about 10 products it found gave off harmful ionizing radiation. It urged people not to use the products, which could cause harm with long-term wear. Reuters. Special report: Amazon partnered with China propaganda arm. Amazon.com Inc. was marketing a collection of President Xi Jinping's speeches and writings on its Chinese website about 2 years ago, when Beijing delivered an edict. The American e-commerce giant must stop allowing any customer ratings and reviews in China, and Amazon complied. Currently on its Chinese site, Amazon.cn, the government-published book has no customer reviews or any ratings, and the comment section is disabled. BBC News. Money manager disappears with $313 million from Chinese builder. A company that was once one of China's biggest property developers says it has quote-unquote lost contact with a wealth manager that has $313 million of its money. China Fortune Land Development says British Virgin Islands registered China Create Capital was supposed to have invested the funds on its behalf. Fortune Land told investors it has reported the issue to the Beijing police. The Guardian. Pegasus spyware found on phone of jailed critic of Narendra Modi. The Indian government's case against Rona Wilson, a jailed Indian activist and critic of Narendra Modi's administration, is expected to face new scrutiny following allegations that his mobile phone was hacked using Israeli-made spyware just months before his controversial arrest. A forensic analysis of Wilson's phone by Amnesty International found evidence that it was infected with NSO Group spyware called Pegasus between July 2017 and March 2018, 3 months before his arrest on terror-related charges. Associated Press. California pot companies warn of impending industry collapse. Leading California cannabis companies warned Governor Gavin Newsom on Friday that the state's legal industry was on the verge of collapse and needed immediate tax cuts and a rapid expansion of retail outlets to steady the shaky marketplace. The letter, signed by more than 24 executives, industry officials, and legalization advocates, followed years of complaints that the heavily taxed and regulated industry was unable to compete with the widespread illegal economy, where consumer prices are far lower and sales are double or triple the legal business. CBS News. Facebook whistleblower fears Meta's plan for the metaverse. Meta Platforms, the owner of Facebook, is racing to build the metaverse, and Frances Hogan is worried. The company's notorious struggles to moderate content on its social media platform bode ill for Meta's ability to control what is posted in the virtual world, said Hogan, the former Facebook product manager who told lawmakers in October that Facebook prioritizes profit over user safety and programs its algorithms to promote divisive content. ESPN. NCAA to pay basketball officials for women's tournament same amount as officials for men's tournament. Quote, the national office continues to prioritize gender equity and has taken steps to correct the disparity of pay for officials selected to work Division I men's and women's basketball championships, unquote, the NCAA said in a statement. CNN. Capitol rioter gets 5 years in jail after throwing fire extinguisher at police. A Florida man who enthusiastically attacked police at the U.S. Capitol on January 6 with a fire extinguisher, a wooden plank, and a pole was sentenced to more than 5 years in prison on Friday, the longest sentence for a Capitol rioter thus far. Robert Scott Palmer is the first person to be sentenced for the felony of assaulting an officer with a dangerous weapon. Associated Press. Illinois governor repeals parental notification of abortion. Chicago, Illinois' governor signed legislation Friday to repeal a requirement that parents or guardians be notified when a minor is seeking an abortion, calling it an effort to safeguard reproductive rights that are being stripped and threatened elsewhere. Effective January 1, 2024, the measure repeals a 1995 act requiring that a parent or guardian be notified at least 48 hours in advance when a minor 17 or younger seeks an abortion. Reuters. Tesla faces lawsuit over Musk tweets on 10% stock sales. Tesla Inc. was hit by a lawsuit over CEO Elon Musk's social media posts, including his Twitter poll on stock sales that pulled down its stock prices. Tesla investors called for access to internal documents to investigate whether Tesla and Musk violated an agreement with the U.S. securities regulator, and its board members failed to adhere to their fiduciary duties. CNN. Southwest CEO tests positive for COVID-19 after testifying unmasked at Senate hearing. Southwest Airlines CEO Gary Kelly, who testified unmasked at a Senate hearing on Wednesday, has since tested positive for the coronavirus, the airline said in a statement. Quote, although testing negative multiple times prior to the Senate Commerce Committee hearing, Gary tested positive for COVID-19 after returning home, experiencing mild symptoms, and taking a PCR test, unquote, Southwest said. NBC News. New York State reports highest numbers of daily COVID cases of entire pandemic at more than 21,000. New York saw the highest number of new COVID cases in one day out of the entire pandemic, Governor Kathy Hochul announced Friday. The state recorded 21,027 positive COVID tests on Thursday, about 8% of total reported test results. NBC News. JP Morgan hit with $200 million in fines for letting employees use WhatsApp to evade regulatory reach. The SEC announced Friday that JP Morgan Securities admitted to bookkeeping failures and agreed to pay $125 million to settle the charges. The SEC said JP Morgan acknowledged that from at least January 2018 to November 2020, its employees used personal devices to send text, WhatsApp messages, and emails about company business. Even the managers and senior personnel responsible for compliance used their personal devices to communicate sensitive business matters, the SEC said. News.com.au. Parents demand rule change after transgender swimmer smashes records. Upset parents of fellow competitors have sent a letter demanding rules be changed as transgender swimmer Leah Thomas shatters records. Parents of swimmers competing in the U.S. alongside transgender University of Pennsylvania record breaker Leah Thomas are demanding she be barred from future girls events, calling current rules a, quote, direct threat to female athletes in every sport, unquote. ABC News. McDonald's to pay Black store owner $33.5 million to end bias suit. McDonald's will pay $33.5 million to a former baseball player who owns multiple franchises to end a lawsuit he brought against the company accusing it of racial discrimination. Herb Washington, who is black, owned more than a dozen restaurants in Ohio and Pennsylvania when he filed a lawsuit in February that said the company has treated white owners more favorably and denied him the opportunity to buy restaurants in more affluent communities. ABC News. AP photographer beaten by Israeli police in East Jerusalem. An Associated Press photographer has been pushed and beaten by Israeli police in an unprovoked attack while covering a protest in a tense Jerusalem neighborhood. Ilyan had been covering a weekly demonstration in the East Jerusalem neighborhood of Sheikh Jarrah, where longtime Palestinian residents are battling efforts by Jewish settlers to evict them from their homes. NPR. Roger Stone appears before January 6th panel and pleads the fifth. Controversial political operative Roger Stone appeared Friday before the Democratic-led House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, saying he would assert his Fifth Amendment rights in response to questioning from the panel. Associated Press. Delaware judge rejects Fox News motion to dismiss lawsuit. In Washington, a judge Thursday rejected a motion by Fox News to dismiss a $1.6 billion defamation lawsuit brought against the cable news giant by Dominion Voting Systems over claims about the 2020 presidential election. In the 52-page ruling, Delaware Superior Court Judge Eric Davis said, quote, at this stage, it is reasonably conceivable that Dominion has a claim for defamation per se. Thanks for listening, and a double plus thanks for likes, comments, and subscribers. Comments. Some of the news stories were left out in this episode because they had to do with the coronavirus. The information in those stories had changed since recording this video, so I didn't include them. Also, I'm still working on the tone and pacing of these videos, so they may change in the future.